Okay, this video is going to show you how to create a kind of exploded isometric type drawing for this structural assembly. Okay, so what we'll do is go to the layout and set that up first. So what we want is to try and get kind of definition and detail into this. What we need is a very large piece of paper. Okay, so the end product would be a PDF or whatever, but actually to be able to see the lines between the objects, you do need a pretty damn big piece of paper. So page setup manager, modify. Okay, let's do DWG to PDF, and we'll go for an A0. So ISO A0, and we'll use our black and colour CTB, but we're going to tweak this in a wee moment. So we'll get it going with that and close, and let's maximise the viewport. I'll take ortho off. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is set up a view. So double click inside and use the command VP. It's short for viewpoint. Okay, and this way you can be a bit more kind of specific. You're not just dragging the mouse around. You've got something you can come back to if there's a problem. So I kind of find this a bit better. So we'll go for 225 and 15. Okay, so that gives us a kind of quite an even kind of isometric appearance to the drawing. So the angles are kind of the same in each direction, which kind of works well. So don't rotate it now because you've wrecked that. Okay, so you have to use VP and 15. Okay, so we've got to kind of keep it at that. Okay, and then we'll set a scale, and this is where it gets a bit kind of guessworky. We'll try to see what scales we've got that are going to work. Might 1 to 50, that's going to be a bit too small. Maybe 1 to 30, possibly a bit too big. We're kind of somewhere in between. We'll try this 1 to 40. I think that's probably going to be about right. Yeah, because we've got to kind of pull this, extract the objects in this kind of direction. Let's go 1 to 30. Let's see. Let's make it quite busy. So the bigger we get, the bigger we have this, the clearer things are going to be. So I'm chickening out. I'll go 1 to 40. Okay, and then we'll tuck that into the top corner. Okay, so we've got room to pull the objects in this direction. Okay, difficult to move the objects in paper space, so we'll jump back to model space to do the moving and look down on it from the top. So World UCS plan. Okay, and firstly we want to move the columns and the truss on the top. So I'll get the move, pick the truss, and hopefully picking up the columns here. And I'm going to use numbers. Okay, I'm going to put in distances so I know how much I've got to kind of move things. So ortho on, and let's see what, say 30,000 looks like. So I'll move this down 30,000. Let's see if it fits in the view. Yeah, quite comfortably. That's not too bad. So I think we could probably up a scale here. Let's go up to 1 to 30. Oh, it's just a bit nippy, isn't it? I'm going to do a custom one, 1 to 35. I want to add to this list 1 to 35. Drawing units. 1 paper unit equals 35 drawing units. Okay, and then apply that. Yeah, that's snug. I like that. Okay, we don't need to see the grid. That's causing a bit of mess. There's a few layers here that we aren't really relevant either, so we've got some 2D stuff, and the bases as well, they're not going to really work in the diagram. So let's globally freeze these. So we've got floor, base, and arm 2D, column 2D, and construction 2D. So we don't need those. Okay, now we'll move the trusses next, and the cables. We'll put those together. So I don't want too many rows of objects, or it gets a bit chaotic. We're missing a cable there by accident, actually. So if I mirror that around the insertion point of this object, there we go. Noticed that before. So we want to move these. So I'm using a crossing window because there's a stack of trusses going down the way. So if I do just a single pick, I'm only picking one of them, not 7. So crossing windows, and then a base point anywhere, and we want to be, say, 20,000 this way. Okay, there's another layer there that could do with being switched off. Ground, let's freeze that one as well. Ground. Okay, have a look at that in the layout. That's not too bad at all. We're not obscuring the trusses, but we know there's a bit of depth there. Having a little bit of stuff hidden is good. It kind of establishes the depth. Okay, now we've got the connectors to move. Okay, and having set this up before, I kind of know that if I move these 7,000, they should sit quite nicely. Okay, so I'm going to move them 7,000. Okay, and when I mean sit nicely, they're not getting obscured. Okay, they're sitting in the middle of the window panes there. They're not lying on top of the lines, which would make them difficult to see. If I demonstrate that, you don't want them to be sitting somewhere like that, so they're all sitting on the lines. Okay, so that's the kind of setup for the view. We've got to do a bit of layer control now. Okay, so I'm going to double click outside. Okay, let's put the viewport onto its own layer so we can make sure we switch it off. So create a new viewports layer. Okay, make it non-printing and give it a funky color so we can recognize it. Okay, and pop that onto the viewports layer. Right, now ortho off and the O snaps are off. What I'm going to do is set this viewport to be the connectors and everything in front of that. So I'm hiding some of the glass, because I want the glass viewport to behave a bit differently to the front one. Okay. Then we copy the viewport onto itself. Copy, enter. Need the O snaps now. So it's got to be in exactly the same place. So from here, pretend to go away, come back to here and pick, enter to stop. And then what I'm going to do is just fold this, just kind of resize this. So I'm only editing one of them just now, so I'll just make it a little bit smaller. Okay, and it's only got the glass in it. Okay, now what we do is a bit of viewport layer control. So I'll start with this one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is freeze all the layers only in that viewport. Okay, so it's VP layer is the command, enter, freeze, star, so that's Shift 8 or it's above number 9 on the keypad. And then you have to choose the viewport. It says what do you want, which viewport you want to freeze them in. So we select, pick this one, enter twice. Okay, it looks a bit strange, but then activate that viewport, drop the layers list down, and you notice they're all frozen in this column. Okay, but we'll just thaw the glass only. We'll not bring back the mastic because that obscures quite a bit of detail. So we've just got the glass coming back in that one. Okay, now go to this viewport, and in this one only we freeze the glass and the mastic. Okay, everything else stays there. Okay, if I just temporarily move this away, you'll see there's no glass there. Okay, the glass is only visible in this one. Okay, it's a wee bit tricky, takes a bit getting your head around how to, what the order and things to do it, but it's pretty good. Okay, let's do a plot preview and just have a look at what things look like just now. Okay, so it looks, you know, technical, but it's a bit messy. You know, we've got blue lines here for the glass. We've got a mixture of stuff that's heavy. There's no hidden lines. It's all a bit too chunky. So let's deal with the hidden lines first. Okay, and to do that, you'd use a command called make view. MV, enter, shade plot, hidden. And then when it says select objects, it means select viewports. So we're just doing the hiding on this viewport only. We'll leave the glass as it is. Okay, so that's that done. Let's test it. Do a plot preview. Okay, so now you see where the column is hiding the trusses there. These are looking a bit more defined, but we've still got problems with colours and line weights. That should be hiding there. It's a bit. Oh no, that's right. That does go over the corner. That's right. That's doing it right. Okay, exit the preview. Okay, what we can do is edit the CTB to deal with the color issue. Okay, so edit the CTB. So select all first 9, and they're all going to be printing black anyway, which is fine. But we want them to be 0.05 millimeters. So it's the thinnest pen it can use. So then save as, and I'm just going to add thin to the end of that. Save and close. We need to remember to change it here to the thin one, and then apply that to the layout. Oops, sorry, that's to continue the plot. That's fine. So we've applied it to layout. We can close the dialog box. Let's just test that. Let's just do a preview. Okay, so the line weights are looking better and looking finer. Okay, we've still got a couple of colours here that are rogue. So you deal with that with the layers dialog. Okay, so if we go into the layers dialog, and we're looking for the ones that are the colours are above colour number 9. Okay, so we're not printing that one anyway, so we don't need to change that, but we are printing the cable. So we'll change that. Let's just make that cyan, and let's make the glass blue. And that should deal with that. So everything should print out black now and thin lines. Let's do a plot preview. And that's the way I wanted it to look. So it kind of looks glassy now. So everything's an even line weight now, which is what you would expect in this kind of diagram. Nothing's chopped through, so there shouldn't be any heavier lines than here than anywhere else. Okay, and after that it's an annotation job. So this is done in paper space. So let's create a new layer for annotations. I'll make this, let's just go with a bright red at the moment. So color number 10. So these will print in red. Okay, let's make that current. Actually, let's be tidy and make this in capitals as well. Let's just call it annotate. Okay, annotate's current layer. So we need to set up the line for to show the kind of breakdown. So what I'd do here is actually trace, while I'm in paper space, trace over the drawing. So if I draw a line from here to here, one from there to there, pick up the end, and then from midpoint to midpoint, midpoint to midpoint. Okay, I can set my coordinate system to be that line if I want to. So you can do UCS, enter, and then pick an object. So anytime I draw a line, it's going to be in that direction. So if I want to stretch that with ortho on, I can just use the grips. So you see how you're kind of making implying these are connected. So we don't actually draw onto anything, just kind of leave it kind of sitting like that. But let's put this line onto the connectors. So we'll draw a line that kind of goes from glass to connector to truss. Okay, so let's move this from end point there to the insertion point of one of the connectors. So it's handy keeping them as blocks. So we'll go to the insertion point of, let's just overrule the others for a second. So it only finds insertion points. So let's go to this one. Okay, and then I'm going to extend that till it goes to the end of the truss. Okay, now we can break that, make it look a bit more diagrammatic. We can just break the line, so it implies that it's kind of going through the object. And similarly here, if we break it just about here, it shows the connection there. So BR, pick, and then delete that. So you get the idea, it's kind of coming through. It'd be good if these were dashed lines, so let's make the layer a dashed line type. Divide, no, I think we need another one in there. Let's go for dashed. So what's that one? Divide 2, let's use dashed 2. Okay, we need to use that, so let's click it and OK. And what have we got? That looks not bad scale actually as it is. So if we wanted larger dashes, obviously change your line type scale. At the moment it's 1, if you said 1.5, getting bigger dashes. Okay, and then you could copy that. So copy those two line segments from insertion point to insertion point to insertion point. Okay, and this middle one will show that coming through, because that goes through to the back of the column. So we'll just imply that that's coming through there. Okay, so you'd repeat that wherever you've got any detail that needs drawn. You've got the line in the other direction, so if you're needing lines to go in two directions, change the UCS to this instead. So let's move the truss upwards. So if we go into the viewport, I want to be in the world coordinate system, which I am. That's good. And then I can move the truss. Okay, I don't want to move it too far. Let's just take it up just now. Okay, oops. Object snaps, should switch those off. Move this. Okay, and what I'm going to do, don't pan, don't pan, it wrecks the whole diagram. Okay, double click outside for safety. What I'm going to do is imply that there's a connection to the glass, that the glass connects onto the edge of this object here. So I'll set the UCS. We could save this UCS if we want to use it again. We could use it again. So UCS manager, right click unnamed and rename, and we'll call it annotate 1. Okay, so we can come back to that whenever we want to. Okay, so I'll go to the world coordinate system just now and draw a line up from here but down from here. Okay, so using my annotate dash lines, I'm just going to go down a bit. I'll go down to about here. Okay, and then copy one of these. I need endpoint available now to there. That's fine, it's going to be fine. It's not going to go out the top of the drawing, which was my worry. Okay, so I'll draw a line up from here and then just join those two together. So fillet those two, and that's kind of implying that connection. Actually, let's see if that's going to fit. If we'll copy that to the other end of there, because it will look tidy. Copy these. Okay, so we'll use the corner of the piece of steel, and it's going to go to here. So that was the concern, that you end up a little bit too big for the page. So we've got enough slack, we've got a fair bit of space at the bottom, we can just move that down, move everything to make sure it fits on the page. We can move it sideways a bit. So that looks good. So you're kind of showing how, you know, this is supported by the back of that metal plate. Okay, what about a line from the middle of the column? Okay, take that up. Okay, so it comes up to here, but it's going to be hidden, but we'll just pop it there for now. Okay, and copy that from column to column. Okay, so it's hidden on all of these, which is a shame. Okay, so what we're going to do is break that, because I don't want the line to be over the top. So I'm just going to break the end off. Okay, we could do a bit of tidying up here, because this will imply that red line's on top of the truss. If I just show you what I mean. So I'll do a preview here. You see the red lines going over the top, so that, you know, it's a bit of an Escher kind of conundrum there. It shouldn't be visible. So what we'll do is just manually break bits off. Okay, so we wouldn't see this bit. We'd see a little bit there, so I'm going to keep that. Okay, you see what I'm doing? Just making it, hiding it behind the object. So you can't use the hidden line. The hidden line won't do this because the line's in paper space. So we'll break it through to here and then break it to there. So that's going to look a bit more as if it's a 3D connection now. So we'll preview that. There we go. So the red is kind of showing behind. It appears that it's kind of drawn behind the object, but it's not in reality. Okay, and you just kind of keep going with that. So let's plot this now, just see what the printout looks like. Okay, just pop it on the desktop so I can get to it. Maximize that. Let's just zoom in. So it's really nice and fine. So the print preview isn't as fine as looking at the finished PDF. So it's looking nice and crisp. And that's kind of what you want, you know, a nice sharp drawing, which you've got plenty of option to have it smaller, but it's starting off nice and big and clear. Okay, I hope that's been useful.